Hello, welcome to the CIRS Healing Collective expert guest video series. I'm Jenny Johnson, the host and facilitator of the CIRS Healing Collective, which has been a resource for aspiring CIRS overcomers to share and connect from around the world since 2020. I'm a shoemaker proficiency partner and CIRS coach, and most importantly, an overcomer myself. What you're about to see is a 10-minute excerpt from a 90-minute group discussion that members of the CIRS Healing Collective got to have live with this expert guest. If you would like to see the full 90-minute replay, come on over to the CIRS Healing Collective. We have a robust video library from the past 5 or 6 years of so many expert guests. Better yet, you'll be able to join our future monthly live discussions with experts to come. We'd love to have you. A lot of our doctors know this much about nutrition and gut health. Some of them know like this much. And not all nutritionists are well-versed in kind of managing complex chronic conditions. And while Ashley is not trained in the shoemaker protocol, she has been brave enough to venture into this world and learn and start serving CIRS patients. She's incredibly open-minded. And I think partly because of her own journey and our kids' journey with trying to find answers. So I'm not going to say too much more because Ashley actually has a presentation for us that she's going to take us through to talk about digestive health, women's hormones, the gut microbiome, kind of a really broad overview of the importance of digestive health for detox and a variety of detox and general wellness. But there's going to be a time at the end for questions.
Tools for well-being for women. And I don't know if this collective is mostly women, but a lot of these tools are also useful for men. So part of this presentation, we're going to focus on the unique experience that women are having from a hormone perspective, but then the rest of it is incredibly relevant, whether you're male, female, teen, child, a lot of this is useful. So starting out, tools for well-being for women. So one of the things that was really profound for me when I was getting my master's degree in functional medicine and nutrition was we had this amazing doctor, Dr. Michael Stone, who's an Oregon-based family physician. And during one of his lectures, he said this: you can turn on and off your genes within 3 to 6 hours by what you eat, what you do, what you think, by how you sleep, how you move, and how you have relationships. It's by this that you can create a healthy life and reverse a disease condition. So during the reproductive stage, we have this presence of estrogen, and estrogen is beautiful. It's what makes women creative. It's anti-inflammatory. It's protecting the body. It also has to have an exit out of the body. But we start losing our estrogen as we're aging. And then during perimenopause, we also see progesterone is declining. And then we head into the menopause transition, which is essentially marked by 12 months of consecutively not having a cycle. And in the US, that typically happens around age 51 or 52. And estrogen continues to decline. And we have a higher level of estrogen compared to our progesterone. So the relationship between estrogen and progesterone starts changing. And then we get into this phase that's postmenopausal. So that lasts the remainder of the female life. Most women will spend about 30% of their life in this chapter. And again, estrogen continues to decline and progesterone continues to decline. So there's a lot of shifts happening in our body. And sometimes what's really fascinating is we don't even realize this is happening. So we start having symptoms attached to these shifts, but we don't realize we're going through this perimenopausal shift. So when they surveyed women, most women had zero idea what stage they were in unless they were in the postmenopausal stage. And so what's interesting is how powerful estrogen is. So if we know after reproductive phase, we start losing our estrogen, then understanding what estrogen was doing for our body is really important. Estrogen helps with glucose control. So it increases insulin sensitivity versus insulin resistance, and it helps us take up glucose. It powers our brain. It balances and protects our bones. It maintains proper blood flow to our hearing structures. It maintains our saliva levels. So we start seeing shifts in the oral microbiome, and some things start happening inside the mouth, which is the beginning of the digestive tract. It maintains our skin hydration and elasticity. It helps with hair growth. It protects our muscles. It increases our receptors for LDL, so really lipid profiles or protecting lipid profiles. It regulates tumor suppressor genes, and it protects us from inflammation. So estrogen has a lot of jobs in the body beyond just reproduction. And what is really fascinating is the connection between the hormones and the brain. So recently there was a book that came out, The Menopause Brain by Dr. Lisa Mosconi, and they haven't invested a ton of money into researching the menopausal brain and what's happening to women in this phase. So they gave her money to study the menopause brain. And it's really exciting. The research validates what so many women encounter, that the brain is connected to the ovaries. And they call this the neuroendocrine system. And the neuroendocrine system is turned on during puberty and it's dismantled during menopause. And essentially, the brain is talking to the ovaries, and the ovaries are communicating with the brain by sharing those hormones, the estrogen, the progesterone, the testosterone. And so this was really an aha moment in the research. So as many of us know as women, we can sense that connection and we experience the connection between our brain and our cycles. But what's really important to understand is we now know that estrogen wasn't just about reproduction, but estrogen was about protecting a healthy brain. And so now we understand that more and we can adapt to the changes that are happening. So menopause is now essentially seen as a renovation of the brain, and some women will experience more severe symptoms than others.
I'm blown away by how much influence hormones, detoxification ability, our microbiome, our nutrition and nutrient intake, this all, it has so much value for, well, of course, for everybody, but for us, we're going through a chronic inflammatory condition that impacts our energy, impacts our brain health, impacts our metabolism. And how many of us are doing such a deep dive on the hormone and nutrition and digestive health side of things, in addition to, our protocol with our clinician. There could be some important missing factors. And I'm just so excited to integrate what you shared into what we're all already doing.
One of the things that's interesting as you start healing the gut is we have production of hormones happening in the gut. So you start healing the gut and you are going to see an increased production in hormones. And so that can be positive in some cases. The question is, does the estrogen have the right exit out of the body? And so first, I would start with symptoms, and there's a lot of symptoms that tell you estrogen doesn't have a great exit out of the body. That'd be like breast tenderness, PMS. If you're still cycling, it depends on where you are in your cycle and if you're still cycling. And if you have those, then we're going to work on estrogen getting out of the body. It's going to start by supporting your liver. The liver needs a lot of nutrients to do its job. So if you pull up a map of the liver and phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 detoxification. So the liver is this massive organ that helps detox the body. What we need is a lot of nutrients. We need B vitamins, we need amino acids and proteins, we need antioxidants. So there's a lot of steps. So if estrogen starts increasing, the question is, does estrogen have a way out of it? Are we supporting the liver? And if the liver is getting amino acids, B vitamins, protein, all of the things it needs, antioxidants, then the second step is, do we have enough fiber so that when the liver takes estrogen, sends it to the colon, is it binding and coming out of the body? And so also, do we have too much beta glucuronidase in the colon? So that can be seen in a microbiome test. That can be a reason estrogen is in excess and not getting out of the body. We might supplement with something like calcium deglucarate to help. So there could be reasons estrogen's not exiting. Then if we do all of this work and we make sure estrogen has an exit, you're getting adequate fiber, your liver has every nutrient it needs to be successful at detoxification, then we might explore something like a Dutch test and look at how estrogen exits the body. Because a Dutch test, which is not always my first tool, it's far down the journey, is going to tell us how estrogen's leaving the body and which pathway is it taking, and is it taking the right path. I do think animal protein for women can be valuable. Men seem to do better on plant protein than women when we're in these rapid times of healing, because I see far too many women with low ferritin, iron issues, B vitamins. When you're stressed and you're healing, you burn through tons of B vitamins. So I find animal protein is a great source for those kind of nutrients. I also, my clients sometimes play with things like liver, which is this incredibly nutrient food that we've lost in the American diet that some of our grandparents ate, some of our parents ate. So I'm not opposed to animal protein. If you do a keto diet, there are some plant-based fats you can utilize too. I love plants. I think you should have a plant-heavy diet.
Dr. Bredesen's Keto Flex diet. I don't know how familiar you are with that, Ashley. So I think he likes the Keto Flex, and Keto Flex, the flex part I think is more about the timing. And it's also flexible with like plant sourced and animal sourced. But I think his goal with keto oriented nutrition is that the brain likes to run off of ketone bodies. And so having more of our calories coming from quality fats than from carbs and even proteins is what he is recommending for specifically for cognitive health. But, one diet for one purpose can then create issues for other things, and so, I'm learning from Ashley that maybe that's the right way to go, but it would also be really wise. And even Dr. Bredesen says this is make sure if you're on the Bredesen protocol that you're working with a nutritionist who can customize things for you and do the appropriate testing. Because if we just kind of say, oh, I'm on the Bredesen protocol, so I only get to eat this much protein in a day. Well, maybe that's not right for you, especially if you're also going through if you're going through perimenopause or CIRS or other things. I'm just seeing how important personalization is rather than just a protocol.